Good evening, and welcome to the Variable Y Minute with your host, the Variable Y. I thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. And tonight we are having one last story about some football before we move on to other sports. You know how they like to try and string football along like it's going to last forever, but some of us like to have our sports in seasons. Now football season is over, so now it's time to move on. We're going to be doing plenty of basketball coming up, and then when baseball gets started, we'll kick into that too. But like I said, I wanted to do one last story when it comes to the world of football, and it's really about something I teased last night about this really good beginning of this 30 for 30 that I saw on one Michael Vick. Now, as you guys all know, I live here in Atlanta. Here in Atlanta, Mike Vick is a big deal. You say his name in the streets to this day, you'll get into a hotly contested debate with people on both sides of the argument. So I wanted to kind of bridge the gap a little bit between these two sides. Now I know this is probably a very futile effort. This will be a very futile effort because there are going to be people who are just not going to agree. You're going to have people on one side who say, man, the Falcons should have kept Mike Vick. They should have gave him another chance. They should have did everything they could to keep him. To those people, I say, I was going to say something else, but to those people, I say, I don't think you understand how this works. Football is a salary cap driven sport. And you cannot have part of your salary cap tied up in a guy who's not going to play. And if they would have kept a hold of Vic when he was in jail, he was not going to play. So that didn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know why it would make sense to anybody. And then you got people on the other side who say, they should have got rid of him a long time ago. He was never really a quarterback. He just couldn't play football. And to those people, I say, you're going to be who you are, and we understand that. So I'm not really going to waste a lot of my efforts or energy on you. I fall in the middle. I totally understand the people who say, man, they should have done everything they could to keep Michael Vick. I mean, Vick means a lot to this city, like the reason why there are people who are Falcon fans, and I have to admit, I'm one of them, is because of Mike Vick. He actually made this team relevant, which made this city relevant for the first few years that he was here. Because before that, we were a team who, and even in his day, so I'm not gonna act like he turned this around because he didn't. But before that, we were a team who would never have back-to-back winning seasons. We were a team who couldn't get any primetime games. We were a team who couldn't get any free agents here. And then Vic came, and all of a sudden, Atlanta was the place to be. And it was like this big convergence of things that have all centered around the pretty much unofficial capital of the South, because you had the football team just started picking up steam, started getting popular. Then you had all the young up and coming songwriters and rappers and entertainers down here. You had the up and coming film industry and TV industry started to kick off down here in the early 2000s. So this was the place to be. And Vic was the one of the key contributors to that. So I totally understand why he means so much to this city. But after watching that 30 for 30, and him confirming things that we had all heard, I would assume, some of us who pay attention to these things had all heard, that there were times where he could have been better. Now, again, I get it. He was a black man playing quarterback in the NFL. For many, many years and for a long time, there's been the stigma about black men playing quarterback in the NFL. It just is what it is. Hell, it's still there. Watch the way that people all of a sudden started talking ish about your boy Lamar Jackson after his playoff loss. His second year in the league, he loses one playoff game. All of a sudden, they want to make him a running back again. Nobody wasn't saying anything when he was throwing for 35 touchdowns, but again, whatever. So I get it. I get where people feel very sensitive about this subject, and they feel like this was their guy, and they feel like had he had the chance, he could have completely revolutionized the sport. I understand that. But the thing is, guys, he had his chance. Watching this documentary, and I recommend watching it, by the way. Watching this documentary, he even told you that he wasn't one of the best at studying his playbook. He says he wishes that he would have done that more. So I totally get us feeling like we got to have his back. But you have to understand that for us to have your back, part of this is not necessarily about you just being a black quarterback. Part of this is about you being a black quarterback that takes us to the next level. And at some point, he stopped doing that. At some point, I don't want to say he became bigger, because he was always bigger than the Falcons. But at some point, he probably knew that, and he wasn't putting the time in that he needed to. But the talent was always there, as we all can see from when he went to Philadelphia. And Andy Reid, he got with a real coach, and Andy Reid was able to tap into all that unused talent, and made him just the quarterback. And so now we're left saying, this is what could have been. This is what we used to have. Dang, man, look at that. This is what we used to have. Man, all that, just the possibilities are endless of what could have been. But again, I say to you, citizens of Atlanta, fans of Michael Vick even, fans of the Falcons because of Michael Vick, I say even, it's time to let it go, y'all. It's time to let it the hell go. The man don't play for us no more. The man ain't never coming back. There's nothing the Falcons could have done. It's insane to think that they could have done something. They did everything they could. Arthur Blank wheeled the man around in a damn wheelchair. Don't you think he would have wanted to keep him if he could have kept him? But all of that to say, I say to the people on the other side of the aisle, guys, he paid his debt to society. And he's pretty remorseful about it too. Reflecting back, again, I recommend you watch the documentary because it's really good. But reflecting back on everything, he's not only remorseful about the things that he had done to get himself in trouble, he seems to be very reflective and remorseful about the fact that he didn't really take football seriously when he was here in Atlanta. So let the man live. Like, it's going to make you feel better in the long run. Because there really is no point. There's no point. You won't win. So just let's all meet somewhere in the middle on this. There was a great opportunity for this young man to revolutionize the quarterback position. In some ways, he did just that off of just his raw talent. And it's safe and fair to say that if he would have put in just a little bit more work, he would be one of the greatest of all time. I think there's room for both things to be true. And so I say all that to say, people, watch this documentary. It is fascinating. You will enjoy it. Trust me. If you are any bit of a fan at that time and you were anywhere around watching this, then it'll take you back to some of those days and you'll be like, damn, dog, I forgot how good this man was. So, like I said, I recommend you watching that. And that's going to do it for tonight's show. We are going to, like I said, transition out of football, move into some other things. And we'll do that with a smile on our face like we always do. Please catch me on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube at the Variable Wide Minute. You can catch the full videos. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're probably doing that. If you're catching me on Instagram, I'm dropping these 1 minute nuggets and I'm sending you back over here to YouTube. And then, of course, I think I'm going to start dropping some on Twitter as well. So Variable Wide Minute on YouTube Instagram is just the variable Y, and on Twitter, it's the variable. Until next time, people, have a good one.